Happy October, everyone. We're kicking off Halloween month by welcoming two new psychics to Calling Out, Eddie Connor and Laurie Gregg. Eddie Connor is a soul intuitive author and co-host of the Coming Out with Liz and Eddie podcast. Or wait, are you coming out or it's coming out? Okay, and where he shares tools to keep your frequency high. He has appeared on The Morning Show, Australia, CNN.com, our old stomping grounds, Dr. Drew, the Associated Press, Ghost and the Afterlife documentary, and featured in CBSLocal.com for their Best Psychics and Mediums in Los Angeles issue. Visit EddieConnor.com for more information or to schedule a reading. Laurie Gregg is known as the Entrepreneur's Oracle. Laurie has used her psychic abilities to program to transform people's lives for the past 20 years. She's a clairaudient and can give you the inside scoop directly from the angels and guides, the archangels, and God himself, word for word. Laurie is also the author of the book Playing Blackjack with God, where she has combined over 13 years of her encounters with God into one book. You can find her powerful book on Amazon, or to learn about Laurie and her book and book reading, please visit her website at lauriegregg with 2Gs.com, just in case you're listening to the podcast. All right. And by the way, if anybody isn't aware of it, I do have a podcast, and we have about 150 shows over there. I've been doing this since 2014. I'm a little psychic, but more so now that I quit drinking. So, but I do also enjoy the company of my psychic friends, and I've met so many great people. I've been, wooed by these two particular people. I've been interviewing a lot of psychics lately, thanks to Robin, and I was pleasantly surprised by what they were able to tell me that were things that were very personal and nobody knew. Because, I've done so many podcasts. My spirits have come through the years, and I've, talked to so many dead people now. But they were very specific and able to tap into things that aren't my normal, nobody knows. So that's why I brought them here. And I wanted to bring a guest who is a frequent flyer of the occult and stuff like that. I probably shouldn't have said that. I'm giving too much information. The psychics know nothing about who it is. I am 100% positive that they don't know who the guest is. So if you think that they Googled them or they had any prior information, I did give Eddie the name and the birth date of this guest, and he knows his name and his birth date. But I watched him since I gave it to him, and he hasn't looked on his phone. He hasn't done anything. I don't know, Kaleb, if you can show what Eddie's doing right now. He's sitting right next to me. He's been writing down stuff for about 5-10 minutes while we're setting up. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in Shane. Hi, Shane. Welcome to Calling Out with Susan Pinsky. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
So have you ever had a psychic reading before?
Nope, I have not. But I did this year for the first time, thought I might be a little psychic because last year I predicted that Oasis would reunite, and they did. So, so here I am.
Okay, he's funny. Okay, we already know that. Okay, so how the process works is basically Eddie will start. I'm going to start with Eddie, and then I'm going to move on to Laurie, and he will start reading you. If you resonate with something, just, say yes or no. If you don't resonate with something, it's probably going to be, I'm going to just put it out there, it's probably going to be Robin's mother. She's got more spirit than my mother. My mother's been on a lot of these shows, and I just told my mom, please quit showing up, please. Let's let the guest get the reading today. So, but if she shows up, I'll say hi. I'm not going to be mean, but Mom, we know you're there, Robin's mom, and we appreciate your protection over my studio because everything's running well. And Robin really appreciates that because she's running the board. Okay, so here we go. We're going to let Eddie introduce himself to you and take it from there.
Hi, Shane. How are you today?
Hi there. It's great to meet you. I'm good.
Good. Did you take your Imodium AD? Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So, you know about numerology at all by chance?
Peripherally, yeah.
Okay, here's the deal. You're a life path 33. There are 11 master numbers in numerology. There's the 11, the 22, and the 33. You are literally the highest master number a soul can be entering the earth plane in this lifetime. And so 3 and 3 is 6. You happen to be born on a day, the 6th. So you have home and family grounded in you. You create family wherever you go. So if it's at work, even if you're standing in line at Starbucks, or even the kids at Starbucks probably know you by name now, not because they have to, it's their job, but because they know you. Also, they're saying right off the bat, you're a truth teller, a truth seeker. And anytime you smell contradictions in someone's conversation or corporate policy or anything like that, it gets your psychic ears open. You also pretty much lead with your heart, and that doesn't mean that you haven't had a broken heart here or there. You know, it's funny because last year you were in your heart chakra for 1 full year, and on your birthday this year you went up into the throat chakra. And the throat chakra for 1 whole year for you is going to be about pulling in your expanded consciousness, and this whole rest of the year is about you, like a snake that outgrows its skin. You're getting ready to go to a higher spiritual level. Now, does some of that resonate right up front? Then I want to go into some specificity.
I would say, yeah, some of that does resonate for sure. Everyone watching who thinks I'm a Freemason, which I'm not, now is going to hear you say 33 and be like, oh no, he's a Mason, because that's in numerology, they like that. But other than that, I agree with, contradictory statements I don't like. I've definitely been on a bit of a spiritual path for sure. Very, very open about it in a lot of shows that I do. And I'm looking to hear about some specifics now.
Okay, so this is interesting. When you're speaking, are you in the northeastern United States, or do you have some kind of a thing about 9/11?
That's good. Okay, so for those watching, I've never talked to you before.
Right.
And I'm just really quick. Before I say this, I have not said this on any show yet, because I have a lot of shows that I do. I don't think I've said it yet.
Let him keep going. Let him keep going.
Yeah. So yeah.
Don't say anything yet. Just say yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So 9/11, there's something about it that catapulted and quantum leaped you as a human, physically, spiritually, and emotionally, as well as intuitively. You knew that you knew that you knew on a core level something wasn't right. And it's almost like all of your guides circled you and hit you with those electric pedals that they do in the back of a paramedic ambulance and shocked you to life in some kind of crazy way. And from that point forward, you've been on this path. They just keep saying you're a truth seeker, and you have to be careful about being the truth teller, because when you go to tell the truth, thank you, they just said you have journalistic energy, but they're not the current journalistic energy. You have integrous journalistic deep dive faculties. But you are good at taking deep dive, scary, complex, layered minutia and putting it in everyday language in a way where people are engaged enough to read it. Also, they're telling me you're really wise. You pull people in, you pull them in, you pull them in without scaring them too much. But you're very interesting to me because you're about forensic auditing, forensic facts. You want to see the receipts. And they're telling me, man, I could cry right now.
Okay.
because they're saying your day is coming where people who've given you shit for so long are going to come to you and apologize. And that's not what you're doing, whatever you do for. You're not doing it for that. You're doing it because it's the right thing to do, but you had to find a line. That's the 33, meaning you have to walk that fine line between physical, non-physical, between the truth and what we think is the truth and the truth beneath the truth, that's the lie. So the biggest thing you're doing is teaching people to unlearn what they've learned so that they don't go into cognitive dissonance and just shut down and throw terms like conspiracy theorist around, because that's lazy thinking. But your time is coming. I'm going to say some now crazy cuckoo for Cocoa Puff stuff. So you're not from planet Earth at all. You're not from Earth. You have a direct association and connection to extraterrestrials and other life forms. That will come to fruition in between 2026 and 2028. So you're bringing some of that awareness in your own way. Now, you like the behind the scenes and in front of the scenes. So you can do, I mean, you're obviously a good looking dude, so you're going to look great on camera, but you like to know what the truth is behind the curtain more than you like being in front of the camera. But you're cool because you can do two things in one. Are you working on a book deal right now?
Perhaps.
Okay, well, it looks like you're going to have 2 contracts associated with that. And are you trying to parlay one of the book deals or the written contracts into something to do with TV?
It's something that's been in my mind.
Okay, would you possibly end up getting that TV contract in another country before you did the United States?
Oh, I don't know about that. Honestly, it's just a thought. I have so many things I want to say. Do I get to respond at some point?
Wait. One thing. Who's?
Yeah, I was going to say, who's Tony? It's a common name, but who's Tony?
Tony. I don't know. I know a few Tonys, but none that I can think of.
Would be a work related Tony in some way, shape, or form.
Kill Tony?
I don't know Tony Hinchcliffe, but I watched Kill Tony, but I don't work with, as far as I know, any Tonys.
I don't know, I threw it out there. It just...
Yeah.
Okay. What questions do you have?
Tony. Does anybody else have a Tony? Okay, we'll hold that name for now, but it could be a future Tony that you're working with, maybe internationally.
For sure.
Okay.
And maybe you're expanding your horizons to another foreign country, which could be, crazier things have happened. You might call me back in a year and go, holy shit, it happened.
Okay, so can I say a few things?
Yes.
The 9/11 thing. So I grew up where I grew up. It was fairly close to the trade centers just north, and it did affect me. But the reason I was weirded out is because for the past year, I see 9/11 on my phone every day. Like I used to see a different number every day, but then it was 9/11. I'm like, what is happening? I thought it was leading up to the assassination attempt, but I would see it every day. I'm like, that can't be good. That's ominous. I used to see another number. As far as that's all very nice stuff about the journalistic stuff, and I like to think that depends on who you ask, really, what they think about me as a writer. But I try my best to show the truth. I don't so much anymore, just for those watching, think receipts matter, because people are in such different dimensions with their reality that receipts don't do anything anymore. It comes down to something much more spiritual, I think, to people, in terms of what they see around them. And then as far as me being extraterrestrial, I'd like to hear more about that, because I like to be from Earth. I like Earth, but it might explain the size of my forehead.
I'm going to say a couple of things. First of all, do you have a scar or birthmark or tattoo or something around your stomach, your waist, or your back from something earlier in your life? A scar, birthmark, or tattoo?
Around my waist, no. I do have lots of scars, but not there.
I do.
Okay.
You're tapping into my mishmash.
I need to be like this. It's like, oh.
I know he's on, and not a lot of people know about it. So okay, keep going.
Okay, and what's the deal? What's the hair issue? Is somebody you know going through something with their hair? I know it sounds crazy.
Their hair. I mean, other than me losing all mine, I don't know.
So is that something on your mind sometimes for real?
Not on my mind so much. I've been losing it for 10 years, so not so much.
There's a woman around you who's passed away with L sounds and C, S, or Z sounds. Like, here's an example. I don't use vowels in a name because I think it's cheating. Every word has a vowel. So I only use the consonants. So I'm hearing Leslie, Lisa, Liza, Leslie, Lucy. Those are examples. Selena. Those are the C, S, Z sounds with an L female, first name, last name, nickname, or middle name. Do you know who that is that's passed that would be within 2 generations of your family?
With a different letters, but sort of close. But I want to say it's not an S. Should I say the name or?
Yes, please.
All right. So there was my grandma Beverly, and she was losing her hair, but she's been gone for a bit. I think that's her.
And what was her maiden last name and middle name?
Her maiden last name. I don't remember her maiden last name, honestly. Her married name was Mantell.
Okay, there's more L's there, but that's the person. Thank you for that, because I'm just a little living room size medium and a big old stadium size psychic. So she's the one talking about the hair loss, and then there's a CKRN female. The most common sound or consonants for a CKRN is Karen, Corinne. I can't think of any other names like that. Female also passed away connected to you.
That I don't know. Know.
It'll make more sense later. But the grandmother with the L is the one that's bringing the 911s up on your phone. I know that doesn't make sense to you, but she's the one doing it. And did your mother lose a child? Because you have a sibling energy beside of you.
Not. I mean, she had a lot of miscarriages. So
okay.
There's that.
They're on the
as
other
far
side.
as I know, she didn't lose someone else.
Yeah. What specific questions do you have about anything?
What do you make of the extraterrestrial thing? What's that about?
Well, you're definitely from a star system that did not have to use a lot of language at all. It was more telepathic. And let me say something interesting. You do like Earth better than you like humans on it. Mm-hmm. So if they're unconscious or they're walking around contradicting themselves or doing stupid shit, you don't like that. You don't judge them. You just don't like it. You know, you're here from I know I'm going to sound crazy, but your people are here from your star system to elevate the consciousness on Earth going into 5D. So the crystalline DNA energy is waking up in all humans anyway. And part of what you're here to do is elevate them, bridge them, walk them over to the new world, literally. And are you moving?
Moving? No, not yet. Not that I know of, but I do move. But I want to ask more. Is that something that you would think is a generational thing? Like, how far back does this go? My grandparents are aliens, is what you're telling me?
No, just you.
Just me?
So
how does that work?
So your mom she had miscarriages and then alien life made you come to life? Is that what he's trying to say?
Is that what you're telling me?
On the sometimes they will go to in families and they'll go through generational on purpose. And I know it sounds nuts, but part of that's they choose a certain bloodline, a frequency, and a star seed from another part of the universe onto this earth. This has been going on for a century now. In the last few decades, it's gotten amplified. And the last wave of them are already here. So the little babies and stuff that are born now, they are literally born cable ready, as Abraham Hicks would say. And you're going to have a big position. You're going to be a catalyst to bring in the awareness and the awakening, no pun intended.
Wow.
So that is cool. What is my grandma saying why is she making me see 9/11? What's that about?
Just to let you know she's there, and you like synchronicity, you like proof, and you like things in threes.
Okay. Does she say anything else? Is she trying to say anything else?
I know this is nuts, but she's showing me cookies, and I don't know why. So I don't know if she has a sweet tooth or you had a sweet tooth, or she would make you cookies when you would go over, but she's literally showing me something to do with cookies. And do you have a puppy or a little kitty cat that had to have help recently?
We do have cats that she knew of. You know, she lived with us for a while before she passed. But yeah, no, I'm interested what you think about. So is this like, are they able to manipulate electricity to communicate with us?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She's asking about her chair.
I might have thrown it away. Sorry, Grandma.
Did you throw her throwaway too?
Her throwaway.
Her throw.
What do you mean?
Throw.
Oh, her
Like
throw.
like a blanket or something.
No, I think she did have a throw, and I think we have that.
Okay. Okay.
I better go check.
I'll throw
I
that
better go
away.
check.
She also said you need to check your locks on your door unless you just changed a key for the car door or a lock on the house. You have to do that.
Okay.
And
I will.
Do you have a little person in your house that like you have to watch 24/7?
Like a midget?
Like a child.
Yeah, I have three. I have three.
3 midgets.
The midget with the curly hair is the one that looks like they're like bipping around like they're on speed.
Yes, I do. I do have one of those. I have 3 children, and one of them does have curly hair, and she's quite wild.
Okay. And just so she's going back to one of the pets that may have had to be looked at or was a little sickly lately or something. And I don't know if you have one child that's so young still that she could go stand by the crib or the bassinet with that one, but she does do that sometimes. So you'll see her on the camera.
We do have a sick cat right now, and she's never sick, so that's a good one. Our cat's never ever sick. Something did happen. We're not sure what it was.
A little bong.
But,
bong.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Bong.
Yay.
Ring the bell.
Yeah. Yep.
He has contact. So you're an alien and you have a sick cat. So now you're going to believe it, right?
And I'm going to ask you one last thing. Are you doing anything with the photo shoot or publicity or PR that you're getting ready to do or that you just finished doing?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've said this. I'm so skeptical of everything, but you're very good. I did just finish something that we have not announced yet. Yeah.
Okay. She was there when you were doing that. She said you looked very handsome.
That's true. I did.
Tom Selleck. Yeah. I'm calling out Tom Selleck.
Thanks, Grandma. I appreciate that.
Did you wear a blue shirt during that at all? Anything blue?
I sure did.
That was her favorite shirt. That was her favorite look.
Very good.
That's the
good.
one that is going to be your headshot.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good. Yeah. Well, I feel like she's with me all the time. And the reason I asked about the electricity stuff is when her husband died, who is a hero of mine, he was, I'm pretty sure he was trying to contact me through the ceiling fan of his ranch house by turning it off and on. And that was like the one major encounter with a ghost or something that I have. And I talk about it quite a bit. But it was undeniable. Something very bizarre was happening. It was every time I would talk to the fan would speed up or slow down, and I would hear the button be pushed. Oh, and I'd never experienced anything like that in that house. That's my grandma's house. So, yeah, there's something. They're definitely trying to talk to us through the electricity, for sure.
The grandfather energy sent a big bug to scare somebody with.
Nice.
Really. That was one of his signs, just to see people freak out. He just cracked up when he did that.
Oh, he did?
I'm going to totally guess this, but he doesn't have a B sound, R sound, or N sound anywhere in his name, does he?
He does have an N sound.
Okay, what's his name?
Norman.
Norman, and there's an R in there too. Okay, that's him. He sent some kind of a bug that freaked everybody out. Could have been something that flew and hit the wall, and everybody was like, "Whoa!"
When
Yeah,
do you have like an idea of the time?
No, it would have already happened. And it would have
Yeah, like,
happened
can you
after
say,
he
like,
passed.
can you say if you feel like if it did happen, do you feel like it happened like today, yesterday, a week ago?
I have no idea because I'm hearing every fifth or ninth syllable. So whenever I hear them, it literally sounds like a portable, staticky AM radio duct taped to the back of a camel's ass going through the Mojave Desert. But he said it was in the last 30 days. He's holding up 3 fingers, 30 days, last 30 days.
Fair enough. I asking just to see where you're at with the transmissions, because this morning I did have an incident with the children and what we call a silverfish in our bathroom. And ever since, I've been having like a nightmare that it's going to crawl out of the sink with like 1,000 legs. So there you go.
He is laughing his ass off right now. He literally is laughing.
Okay, and I won't have to get in the whole story, but he and I do have a pretty good bug story concerning houses. So that's cool. That adds up.
Love it.
He was a prankster.
Yay. He is a prankster. He says, my work here is done.
Do you want me to incorporate the other psychic now, or do you want to have anything?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this is the bonus round. So we're bringing in Laurie. She is a amazing psychic medium who I had a really lovely chat with. She can kind of, tap into your soul here. She's on Zoom. So psychic mediums can also do readings over Zoom. So you don't have to be with them in person. But hi, Laurie, welcome to Calling Out. So glad you made it. We're going to center your face.
I feel like I'm on the game show right now.
Yeah, me too.
You are. You're on TV, girl. So I'm going to have you lean a little bit to your left, though, because you're off center. There we go. Perfect. I like to have the whole head. I'm the tech person for Ask Dr. Drew, which I want to plug my show, by the way. Ask Dr. Drew Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays, either at 3 or 12 p.m. Pacific. And Drew is the host. Okay. So anyways, I love you, Kaleb, for getting us all in here virtually. We have an alien in the house. I just want to let you know. So take it from here, Laurie, and then I'll try not to interrupt you.
I will say he was bringing up Tony, and I kept getting, you have not met Tony yet, but when you meet a man named Tony associated with this book project that you're halfway doing, that you are going to do, Tony is going to be a major player. So it's just when you meet Tony.
Okay. All right. I'll be waiting.
Yeah, I'll be good with him. When I didn't know we were reading you, and but so I was kind of combing the room, mentally, and I was like, I would love everybody in the room. So I thought, oh, well, that's fun. And then when I was focusing on you, the very first thing they did, I was kind of like, ooh. They like tickled me in my inner thigh, and there is not sexual at all, but they want you to be tickled in your inner thigh, like for giggles. And like I said, it's not sexual anything. I was like, oh, I had some fun in there, but no, they just want you to giggle more.
Okay.
Oh.
And then they
like that.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was like, oh, this is really fun. Yes. I don't even understand what they're doing. I'm grabbing my head because they showed me you just like a doll that a little kid would just go and like turn your head. And it's not a danger thing at all. Not danger at all. But it's like you're going to be seeing everything backwards soon.
Okay.
And I don't even know what that means at all. But I was like, ooh, because it did alarm me in a minute. But they were like, no. It's like a doll that a little girl would just go, to show her what's behind her.
Okay.
So I'm going to call in the angel because he's here, Archangel Vajrapani. He's a Buddhist. And I love Susan's like, he's the rapper angel, because he came in for her earlier. So Vajrapani, what do you want to say? He's squeezing my spine for you. And he's straightening me up for you. So he wants you to be straightened up, strong backbone. And he's going, you're real nice to everybody, which is great. And sometimes you got to stiffen up that backbone and not be so friendly, not so playful. Although they were saying for you to giggle more, but he said, but I want you to have a strong fire going up and down your spine, figuratively, obviously. But he's saying, and as you start to play with your new project, you make sure it is exactly how you want it to be. Because everybody's going to try to push and pull and influence and everything. And he's dropping me into my chair. It's like I'm being rooted and grounded into my chair right now. He's saying, you must be like that. And you hear that clapping. This angel is fire all the way. He's saying, you can be friendly and do it friendly like, and get things your way. I quote word for word, they're going to fuck you if you don't.
Okay. That's good advice. I mean, that's good advice for everybody listening. Everyone who wants to meddle in your projects. Just, I would say, stress to people, know when good advice should be taken and bad advice should be rejected.
No, of course. And okay, I'm looking because I was taking a few notes, but no. Okay. Like I do everything they tell me, and they're grabbing my chest, meaning yours, your book project. Allow it to flow to be on screen. We know you hadn't thought much about that. That'll be Tony playing with that. But once again, they try to embarrass me and make me giggle a little bit. But they show good old Tony, who you haven't even met yet, grabbing you by your mid-body and swinging you around. So obviously don't let that happen. And I know you don't even know who we're talking about yet.
So I should not trust Tony.
They're saying Tony can get you far.
Okay.
So play the game, but watch out. Don't do his suggestions.
Can they give me a last name?
A reality show.
I need to know who Tony is. I want to look him up on X right now.
Yeah, exactly. No,
I had somebody on my Rumble stream, because I'm watching it on Rumble and Twitter and YouTube. But anybody's mentioned Tony Lyons of Skyhorse Publishing, maybe. Lions? Does he have a lion? Nope, it's not him. Okay.
Interesting. I know of Tony, but yeah, he was not a part of the project.
Would you consider? What's that Tony's last name?
That's Tony Lyons. Yeah.
Oh, Tony
I don't
Lyons.
know him though. I don't know him.
Okay. No, that's not the one. No.
Yeah.
Okay. It must be something that people know about you that I don't know about you, or something you were affiliated with that my fans know you and they're bringing up. But thank you for that suggestion. It's not that guy.
And they're saying you are going to know Tony, and it's like, I feel like a drill going right into my belly button right now. And it's like, it's not going to be a painful thing, but it's going to be like, you're going to know it in your, well, they're saying belly button. I wanted to say gut, and they're like, no, he's going to know it in his belly button. I've never heard that before.
Alien belly button.
I hope not, because I hate when people touch the belly button. That's a terrible place. We can't. If Tony touches my belly button, I might not work with Tony.
Okay, they're saying we're not saying he's going to touch you, but you're going to know it,
Okay.
Can I ask a stupid question, though? I mean, from what I've seen in sci-fi, like, don't aliens go through your belly button to implant you when you're pregnant? Isn't that how they used to say, like, they went into my belly button and they implanted the alien baby?
Yeah, some do. Depends which aliens you're talking about. The different aliens have different methods.
Okay, so maybe it's an alien thing.
I hope not.
I don't know.
Doesn't sound fun.
Don't touch my belly button, please.
Talking about aliens, and you were saying earlier how you were from a different dimension and alien stuff. That is actually the coolest thing ever in my eyes, because we're in all these different places and dimensions and all this continuously, and we come to Earth to learn our lessons. And have the tougher time so we can be bold and strong as souls. But I think that's such a blessing. And I know it seemed like it disturbed you a bit. You should be like, woohoo! I left from space last go around, you know?
Well, I have such a problem with Elon Musk because I think he might be an alien. So it maybe if I am an alien, it's because our ancient alien races have been at war. Maybe that's what's going on.
Okay. But
He wants to go to Mars. I don't want to go to Mars.
They're saying you're an earthling now, so don't even worry about that.
Good.
Consider that a blessing that you've been there in the past.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I wonder if my kids, like, do I pass this on? Am I alone?
No, it's a soul thing. It's like each soul is different. It doesn't matter who's a kid or parent or whatever. It's a soul thing. And each soul has such a different game to play. And it's funny, they're saying you can look at your next door neighbor and be like, oh, brother, you know, like you don't like them for some reason. But none of us have any idea the soul game. Each one is playing. And each one has such a different game. And, you know, one lifetime you're going to come to Earth and be the biggest asshole ever. The next time you're going to come to Earth and be all heavenly and angelic like. The next time you're going to, you know, take a trip to another planet. Just to gain more information to live your soul's purpose.
Do you believe the souls have some type of, are they conscious of going out and being the bad soul or the good soul, the information grabbing soul, or is it just the circumstance when it comes here? Like, how do you register that?
And it, you know, because I look at my own family and it's like, how did that one end up like that? We got the same parents and blah, blah, blah. It's a whole separate soul game. And you don't come in going, I'm going to be an idiot. I'm going to kill people. You come in, you choose the soul's game before you get to Earth. And once again, you choose to come to Earth to have an interesting time to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, you don't come in like, oh, I'm going to be a murderer.
Right. That's what happens.
It happens. But you chose it. It wasn't by some accident.
Interesting. Well, I chose a pretty crazy time then to be doing this.
We all did. And this is like such a wild time to be on Earth with so many changes, so many things going on. And they're hitting me in the head and they're going, and you ain't seen nothing yet.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yes.
So have you ever watched the History Channel on aliens, Shane? Did you ever see that? Like,
no, I haven't seen that. No, but I know about it.
So I was on a plane to wherever, New York, and it popped up, and I was sort of prepping for the show to have you on, and I said, I'm going to watch this thing on aliens, okay? Just because I just figured out I'd have something to talk about, but they say that, you know, in 2183 we're going to have colonies on Mars, and that you know, there may have been a nuclear war on Mars already, and that, I mean, there were a lot of things that stood out, and extraterrestrials are out there. I don't know. Hey, Kaleb, did you happen to queue up that divining rod thing that we did a couple of weeks ago with Leslie?
I have it. I can get it queued up.
Okay, no hurry. But anyways,
it's pretty long.
They were talking about it, how extraterrestrials have code in the fabric of reality, and then every experience you ever had is code based. So like the cloud existed before in extraterrestrial world. Yeah, I don't know if this is the soul or whatever, but it's sort of like our brains are a cosmic depository in this world, and we're all connected through it already, like the cloud. Like the cloud is just a duplicate of what already existed. And I was watching that and I was like, I gotta say this. Like, this is so cool. Like it totally, and I'm just watching some goddamn thing on a plane. But so
what you're saying reminds me of people like with ancestral DNA, right? People talk about humans passing down certain behaviors or fears throughout the generations. There's something you might have learned or something you picked up, you know, your ancestors were doing. Even it doesn't have to be something necessarily that's passed down by 100, 200 years. I can see stuff passed down from my grandparents to my children. In terms of like, my youngest didn't know my grandma, but she makes facial expressions that are exactly like my grandma, right? She hasn't seen pictures of her doing that. It's just something I think is embedded in the DNA or something that's passed along. Something I experienced myself when my grandfather passed. I noticed I was all of a sudden doing his facial expressions. I hadn't done them before, but at his funeral, which happened to be on my birthday, my 30th birthday, I noticed all his friends kept thinking I was him. They were in their 80s. So they kept calling me Norman. And then as they were doing that, I was making his smile, which is a bit different than what I usually do. And I could feel it on my face being like, that's not my smile. That's Norman's smile. And, but it was like, it's a weird, bizarre thing. But I've noticed that, this thing kind of, wherever it's coming from, passing down into my kids and then doing the same silly smile that my grandparents did.
I keep getting, he is always so playful with you, always. He always was. It gives him a kick, gives him a giggle to play with you.
Well, he had a very sick sense of humor, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
So that's where you get it.
Yeah, for sure. He drove a hearse for a living, so.
Wow.
Oh. That's interesting. Wow. So he may have been connected in some weird way to aliens. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to take a little break and talk about our sponsors, because they're the ones that bring us this show. And you don't have to give me money like you do Shane on his show. But I wish I had your people. But we'll be right back, and we'll go into more of this and topics that we want to talk about with the psychic mediums. So anyways, first I'm going to grab this really quick. There it is, everybody. You know it. Be prepared for emergencies with the Wellness Company's medical kits. Whether it's a catastrophic storm like the Hurricane Helene that devastated the Southeast, or a child's bee sting, there's nothing like peace of mind knowing that you can take care of yourself and your family. The Wellness Company helps you be rationally ready, that's our coined term, with an array of medical kits, including a new one for kids. It treats 20 childhood illnesses: nausea and vomiting, allergies, asthma, inflammatory illnesses, bioterror, God forbid, croup, ear infections, lice, and more. Oh boy. And probably diarrhea. You can also order the kids kit with an EpiPen should your child be at risk of anaphylaxis. I would have the EpiPen in case somebody else's kid came over and they, because half the time it's like you're standing there and there's a bee and the kid goes, I'm allergic to bees. And it's like, shit, like get him out of the pool. So go to drdrew.com/TWC for 10% off any medical emergency kit. That's drdrew.com/TWC. And we are working side by side with the Wellness Company. It's the future of medicine. After the pandemic, we all realized that we were unprepared. There are some kits that have hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, and all the things that are very difficult to find over the counter. So it's telehealth. You have to sign up and then, tell them what you're looking for. And then there are all kinds of kits. You can get the one that's right for you. And also, they will refill all the pills after a certain period of time for a low cost. It's actually a pretty good deal. So, now that nobody believes the medical system is worthy of us. So check it out. And then also, we want to also mention our other fans. I eat this and drink this every day. Oh God, it's a long stretch. It makes my muscles strong so I can reach. We want to support your health with good, clean, nutritional, delicious food, and to support small businesses with products that help you eat right. And you know what I'm talking about. Our team here at Calling Out and Ask Dr. Drew have made the bone broth and protein sticks part of our daily routines. All of the Paleo Valley's products are impeccably sourced. They are superior to other brands who use inferior ingredients. That was written by Emily. She's so funny. The beef is grass-fed and finished. The meat and poultry are also pasture-raised, so you guys don't have to worry. The cows are in good shape. They get good food while they're alive. The bone broth is made from bones, not hides, and there's a big difference. Each serving or scoop is low in calorie and high in protein and food for your brain and your body. And my hair, okay? My hair has grown back since I take a scoop of this in my coffee every day. For more nutritional information, go get a discount and go to drdrew.com/paleovalley. You get 15% off your first order, or you can just subscribe and get 20% off, which we suggest. So you always have it. The beef sticks are also great for Armageddon. So if you have beef sticks and bone broth, you can survive anything. So that's why we keep it around. I'm all about the doom and gloom here, Shane. I'm like, I have 3 kids too. They're all 31 years old. They're in the world, and I'm scared shitless for them, but I want to have my bone broth and beef sticks, stuck in the pantry. And
I eat bone broth. I have bone broth every day. I love bone broth. We do it all the time in this house. And I talk about the doom and gloom quite a bit, but I always like to remind people that it's always been doom and gloom on this earth. And there's always beauty and joy in this world. And you have to I want to make sure my kids are aware of that, and they don't see, they're going to inherit the doom and gloom world no matter what happens. It's just going to happen. But I like to remind everyone that.
And we knew it was coming, right? We knew that but we also knew that there might be a TV that you could hold in your hand, and it happened.
Yeah.
The iPhone. So
it's crazy.
come on. That's what when I was 4 years old or 10 years old, I went to Disneyland, and they had these guys in spacesuits that would fly around with jetpacks, and we're like, one day you're going to have a TV in your hand, and we're going to have, they all predicted the future, and it happened. So, we're going into a new age. AI is a big thing. That is going to change the world. Whether or not we're going to be safe because of it, we have to be super careful that we don't let it take over our lives. That as humans, we stick with, staying grounded, not living in our phone, not listening to the government and their bullshit. Don't turn into a communist, please, because the AI will eat you up. So, and I'm an older woman, so I have, good 20, maybe 30 years left in me. So I'm going to be definitely talking about my feelings because everybody just thinks I'm batshit crazy. So I'm allowed. I'm old. So
yeah, it's important too. We all can talk about it. And I agree with the AI stuff. The AI stuff, I don't like AI at all. I reject AI. I understand it's good for some things, but I personally see it killing art at first, and I don't like that. It's kind of flattened art. And everyone who makes AI stuff, it all looks and sounds the same. But it's something I don't play with it. I've never used AI. I don't plan on using AI, but I'm also going to be Amish in 3 years because I can't take it anymore.
And I'd love Kaleb to put Laurie on the screen back with also Eddie at the same time to talk a little bit about AI. Laurie she's well connected to this topic. But Eddie's kind of squirming around in his seat right now, so I want him to also be visible. But oh, there he is. He's back. But first, Eddie, what are your thoughts on that? Because I could see you moving around. Your brain was working.
I feel the same way Shane does. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to mess with it. I think it kills intuition, creativity, artistic expression, and the things I have seen too are one note. There's no feeling. When you give someone a handwritten letter, it has such a high pure frequency. It's an extension of the person who gives it to you. And when you just press a button and say, write a book about Amy Winehouse and Hillary Clinton having sex together. A, who wants to see that? And B, it's going to be one note. There won't be any energy in it. I don't know why I said that. I'm sorry.
I think it's good. You're channeling somebody.
Yeah. So, I might play with it when I'm 90 years old if they've got a section of it that actually works, that enriches a person, not kills their spirit.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Okay.
Agreed.
Laurie.
I tell you, AI, my son is now 23 years old, and I've been a psychic forever. And I had two big psychics at my house when he was trying out for trying to decide on the college. And they're like, don't make him do this, Laurie. Just tell him what he's going to do. And I was like, no, he's got to be a human. But I faltered and I said, okay. And I just opened my mouth. And AI wasn't being talked about way back then. And they're like, AI is going to come up and it's going to destroy everything. And this was years ago. And it's going to be, and I was like, my son is supposed to be the one to figure out that one little thing to make AI stop, because AI is going to take over. It's all helpful for us now because it's little bitty and it helps us write better. I have not used it yet because I haven't figured it out yet. I'll tell the truth. But yeah, I think it is totally bad news. Totally.
But he now works in AI, right?
No, he is a computer data processor. And I'm like, remember that prediction years ago? And he's like, he's my son. He's like, he huffs at me, you know how sons do, you know? So with that huffing, he's like, all right, if I got to do it, I got to do it. But he's not to that point yet. I know.
Do you guys envision at all like AI robots being used for warfare, or, you know, the Chinese infiltrating the United States and us not being able to combat effectively because they're all robots, or
It's already happening.
but I mean, are they going to implement it? I know the Chinese. Go ahead.
So they're already approving drone strikes to be carried out by AI. The Pentagon approved that this year or last year. You know, that's the goal. They want humans to just plug into the metaverse and be no problem to the physical world. And they want AI to run everything. It's like the next industrial revolution where they phase us out. We are not wanted in that world by the people who want to maintain power. They want AI to do everything because they can completely control AI for now until AI that turns on them, and then, you know, it's the other way around. But they want to animate everything. It's kind of like why we had the workers the strike, you know, with the ports. Although I didn't agree with their methods, especially at the time they're doing it. Part of it was we don't want to be replaced by automation, which I get. You know, that's kind of what Andrew Yang was talking about all those years ago. You know, I don't agree with their way they want to fix it, but it's something we're going to have to worry about. Look what happened in the original Industrial Revolution. You know, it took out a large part of society's jobs, and they're going to do it again, and it's going to have a bigger effect because it's going to be like teachers, artists, Hollywood scripts, you know, doctors. They're going to do surgeries now. Like Elon Musk has a robot he built to do surgery on your brain. It'll open up your brain, open up the skull, and then sew in his microchip. Like there's a robot already doing that. So that's the future, and I reject that future.
How's the guy that had that done? I haven't seen on the news. He's probably not doing well.
He's actually so far doing okay. Supposedly, he
Really?
tweets all the time. I've talked to him through direct messaging, which is bizarre because when you think about it, when he messages me, he's not using his hands. He's using his Neuralink to send the message.
Okay. All right. So that was it. So that's a plus. Definitely a plus. But I mean, as far as like, how his brain's working, like, is it, because when you open up your brain and you put something in there, it does change you.
Yeah, I think there will be consequences that we don't understand yet, and they're already having consequences for that guy. You know, they didn't take into account how much his brain would move in the skull. All of our brains move in our skulls, and that happening shifted the wires in the microchip, so they have to fix it. But there are short-term benefits to it. Like, I'm not totally against it. I love the idea of giving people the ability to see again, to hear again, to walk again. It's like a beautiful idea. But when you start to play God, it always gets dicey, real dicey, and it turns into something way more nefarious, you know. And that's the part I worry about, the side effects into the future when people start to being basically forced into having a Neuralink because you won't be a part of modern society without it, like we are today. If you don't have an Apple iPhone or some smartphone,
Like instead of kids wanting to be transgender, they're going to want to have a chip in their brain, and their mom won't be able to say no.
Instead of a chip on their shoulder. But a lot of people don't know this because 90% of our history is a lie. We've been taught a lie for literally 90% of our history, our entire lives. But the fall of Atlantis was because of artificial intelligence. The fall of Lemuria, the fall of Egypt was because of artificial intelligence. They make it sound like we were just floating along, hammering, things out of stone and using them for a wheelbarrow. But it was an advanced technology. All of those civilizations were, and that's why they collapsed. The AI got out of control, and they were cross-pollinating humans with animals using artificial intelligence and cross-pollinating DNA strands. From off-planet and on-planet, the Atlantean civilization was an intergalactic exchange program. Well, that's probably where Shane first entered.
Really? So he's part animal and terrestrial.
No, he's from another star system. You probably came in during the Atlantean civilization and you saw what they were doing with artificial intelligence, and Shane was like, honey, I'm coming back in the 1980s and I'm going to be a Life Path 33 and I'm going to nip this stuff in the bud.
Wow.
Well, I
just saw something on that alien show. Thank you for making you whose friend? Drew's?
Oh, no. I was going to say, whenever I talk out about how much I don't like AI or Neuralink, I just lose friends. There are people who love Elon so much. And I like Elon. I think he's really smart. But when I criticize him, there's people who just don't want to hear about it. They'd rather be in his good graces. Yeah. I don't really care. But I have a problem with the things he's doing. I have a big problem with He's like a Spider-Man villain.
Yeah. Definitely.
The most of the people who will instantly go to dislike, and gosh, I'm going to not be liked for saying this. Most of the people who instantly go to, I don't like you for saying that, or you're crazy, unfortunately, are more of them than not are already programmed to push back against someone who is asking curious, straightforward questions about the well-being of people involved in it. So when he's asking those questions and people push back on him, they're already to a point pseudo-brainwashed to think that's where they're supposed to go with AI instead of to uplift humanity with AI.
I should also say, for those watching, that I have asked genuine questions of Elon, but they also might not like me because I might have one time called him the Antichrist on InfoWars. So,
that'll do it.
Oh my God! But there's so many
Antichrists. The thing we got to all pay attention to, though, the government has been trying to take over us forever, really forever. I mean, they did it with COVID. I predicted that back in 1995, and then it happened. And they've been manipulating us. And none of us realize. Well, we realize it, but humanity has no idea. They're skipping along thinking they're on the yellow brick road and everything's fine and dandy,
Totally agree.
Yeah.
I'm nodding my head, yes.
I heard it.
Yeah, we had Joe Allen on, and he's like, he wrote a book on it, Deep Eon. It's pretty intense to read. It's just but I think that me being a product of the 60s, I've seen a lot happen in my 64 and almost 65 years. And my dad was an aeronautic engineer. He helped with the Apollo 7 on the moon. I saw, that was astounding to be able to do that. But the point is, now we're in a world where we're the enemy, and Americans have to stand up and try to protect themselves and be aware of what they're doing and how we're, maybe the left is just all brainwashed at this point. But I don't know. I just want to talk about this stuff out loud and I'm not bipartisan by any means, but I wanted to just say that from what I believe in, we can do anything, with these technologies that we have. And I think we're connected to some other universe. I really believe that. Because how come these psychics can read all these people? What are they connecting into? There's something higher than our brain. And messing with your brain is not a great idea if you don't have to. If you want to speak, okay, fine. If you want to see, great. But just be super careful with advertising that, I'm going to go get the latest chip in my brain. Like, that's no good. But hopefully
real quick, if I can say something, I just want to interject and say, I urge people, no matter what side of the political realm you fall on, to be very skeptical of everything you see that makes you feel good. I mean that in terms of like confirmation bias. When you see something that's like a news article about someone you don't like, don't just jump to it and immediately trust it. And that's for everything, because everyone's trying to own your perception and they want you to be like propagandized and then be their good little soldier. And that's what AI is really good at doing, is like manufacturing and pumping out all of these like narrative controls. So you got to be aware of all that stuff constantly, because we are inundated with like a distortion of bad information every day, and everyone's trying to keep you in that lane. So you just got to look outside of that, and it's not just the left, because I see it on the right too. And I consider myself conservative, but I see so many problems on both sides when it comes to like trusting people, who you're reading, what you're sharing. So it's very important now, like more than ever, because we're in, this disinformation, everything everyone doesn't like is now disinformation. So you just have to be very aware of what you're digesting.
By the way, when you hear disinformation, then go look it up and look at both sides of it. I was having dinner with somebody, and a bunch of us were sitting there, and I said, well, I watch Fox and I also watch this, and everybody got dead silent at the table. And they're like, oh my God. Then they started to lean back, like, do we leave? What do we do? And it's like, you have to watch both sides of that, but then stop watching mainstream and then go on the back channels and go look at all of the other things and deep dive. And when you do, you're going to see contradictions everywhere till you find a common thread that makes consistent sense.
Amen.
Totally agree.
I tried to watch both sides during the pandemic. Dr. Drew and I did a daily stream, and we would follow the COVID tracking system and see how many people died every day, and then we'd talk about it, and then he'd give people relief. It was called Dose of Dr. Drew before Kaleb came along and saved me. But anyways, at night I said, okay, I would watch Fox News. We know everybody at Fox, but Drew's also worked on CNN and for years, and I loved CNN when he was on it. But I tried to watch CNN, but Don Lemon made me yell at the TV like my drunk Republican father. I would just start screaming, what the fuck is he saying? Did you just hear him? Did you hear what he said? And my kids were, of course, living with me, and they were 30. They're, Mom, you're drunk. Okay, stop yelling at the TV. You sound like Grandpa Denny. I was like, I can't help it. He just makes me crazy. The shit that comes out of, and he was with Cuomo. I like Cuomo, but still, he was also right side him. But I try so hard, Eddie, to watch CNN. I last about 5 minutes, and I can't. I used to watch, CNN was the go-to channel in news when I was in my 30s. When I was in your time zone, Shane, I watched CNN every day. I loved it. That's where I got all my information. Although the government was feeding them the news. So we didn't really know everything. But now, if we knew then what we know now, I studied war and history and communism and stuff in college, and I knew that the government was up to no good. But no, Drew didn't believe me. But it's very clear now that we have to use our rational minds, a rational revolution. We need to come together and talk about it openly and not be censored. I've been censored. We have, Shane, whatever it is that you're doing, don't let them fuck with you, because whatever's in your mind and what you're going to develop, the mainstream will fuck with you. And you, like your earlier reading, they seriously, they like Hollywood's run the same way it's always been run. They do the same thing over and over, right, Robin? And she works in Hollywood. She is a producer, but it's changed so much, and you can't. AI's taking the jobs, and we're going to have to fight back against that. And we're really, really up against a wall here in this election coming up. Which does anybody want to predict who's going to win the election?
Every time I tune into that, I literally feel like the rug's going to get jerked out from under it at the last minute. Either it's, and I don't use terminology like this, but it is everywhere. It's either going to be something they called the Black Swan event or a red flag or event or something, but something is coming where the rug gets jerked out from under at the 11th hour. And it's so predictable. I also feel like an enormous amount of cheating. And it could be on both sides, but an enormous amount of cheating. But energetically speaking, it feels like, with who we have on the table right now, it feels like Trump is here with the votes, the people, and the energy. And Kamala is down here. But when you watch mainstream, it shows them neck and neck with her a 0.2 ahead. And it's crazy making. I think something's going to happen. We may not have the election.
That's what I was going to say. I feel like this election is like everyone's been waiting for the series finale for years, right? This show that we're in right now started in like 2014, 2015. And Trump is obviously a major, depending on how you watch it, he's the antagonist or the protagonist. And we've been watching that character, the assassination attempts, the lawfare, all these things happening. And it seems like it's culminating into something crazy, like you're saying, like a rug being pulled out from you type of event. And you got to remember, so they tried killing this guy twice already and throwing him in jail. And in Mexico, their last presidential election just a few months ago, they had 34 assassinations on their presidential candidates. Like, this is not outside the realms of insanity that we're in. And also, if you obviously remember the 60s, this is not out of the norm. I just can't. I've been like a political junkie my whole life because my dad used to, like you guys were saying, we would watch all the channels, Fox 5, NBC, and just go back and forth. So I've always been involved in politics, and you kind of get the pattern of politics. But that pattern, in my mind, just stops when I get to this next general election because we're in absurd times, and you can't really make a pattern out of absurdity. So what's going to happen? I don't know. It's hard to say. I can see a billion things happening at once. It's like a buffet of possibilities where, Kamala wins and it's crazy. Trump wins, it's crazy. So, stealing this, stealing that. It's so impossible to tell. And they've been priming us for the absurdity for years now. So it's going to be the culmination of everything we've been going through, which is media trying to make people accept an unacceptable reality. And so, like with the mainstream media saying Kamala's up here, that's unacceptable reality. Because if you're out in the real world, I see a lot of people who I never would have expected to support Trump, loving Trump now. And I voted for Trump last time. I'm skeptical of that guy, to be honest. I like some of his policies, but I'm seeing people love him now. And you see big people like Elon love him. So there's a discrepancy between the reality I'm seeing on the ground and the reality they're trying to sell you on TV. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that all meshes up. And if we get through it, anything's possible now.
When you're speaking,
Eddie, I'm like you.
Military.
I think something crazy is going to happen at the last second. Like, I don't know exactly what. I worked with actually the British government right after September 11th, so I'm still playing with some of those people. But everybody is predicting things I'm not even going to say. But it's almost like I'm at a, scary movie. What's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? Mm-hmm. And even when I worked for the British, they would have 5 televisions on every single day. They were laughing at the Americans like, oh, God, you guys believe everything.
Every country in the world laughs at Americans, and Americans are the only ones who don't know that they're doing it.
Yeah.
So Eddie said, I hear military. He may be picking up on what I was thinking about. I was thinking about like some kind of military advancement, maybe even finding a weak spot where it would come from another government or something, or another country. But when he said, I'm feeling military, what was that feeling?
It feels like they may have to resort to it in a more public way. And then the next image, when you said what you just said, was there are countries in the world that are already working with aspects of our good military and our good representatives, countries we would never believe in a million years that we've been taught are terrible toward us. Behind the curtain are all working together to ultimately create something that's more peaceful for the whole world, not just for one country over another country. I really think that. I mean,
that's good.
I don't know how.
I want to hear that.
I want to say, thinking about military as well. And I think about in terms of patterns again, we've been kind of as a society thinking a lot about JFK this past election because of RFK Jr. being involved a lot, and then Trump talking about the JFK assassination papers, and one day they might come out. So he's like on the mind a lot. And I also then think about something like Operation Northwoods. Now, I love this country. I think it's the greatest country in the world. But I also think that there's people in charge of this country that are completely depraved and evil, willing to do anything, which then to connect that to JFK, I think about Operation Northwoods. And for those who don't know, that was an operation that the military, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, were willing to carry out to kill their own citizens to start a war with Cuba. They were going to blame it on Cuba to then get into a war. And when they presented that to JFK rejected that. So I just want people to know, like, it could be other countries, but there's also people here who really don't like their own citizens and are willing to do terrible things, right? So you just have to keep all that in mind. And hopefully there's still good people in these institutions that are willing to stop it. Though JFK was a very flawed man, but I'm grateful to him that he stopped at least, something like Operation Northwoods, because that's a horrible, horrible situation.
Yes. We had Captain Dan Hanley on our show, who was a pilot for 40 years, and he predicts that the 9/11 attempt or tragedy was due to some kind of a, it was done by, what do they call it? Autopilot. They have an autopilot thing on because there's no
drones.
But there was no way that these guys from the Middle East could just learn how to fly a 777 or 747 and fly two of them exactly into the World Trade Center. And they did we did the whole show on that. It was really, really interesting. And he just swears by it. He had to leave the country because of it. But he was saying that it was planned by Zionists and Dick Cheney was behind it. And so every time I see Dick Cheney on TV, I just go, oh my God. And I can't say anything. Like I can do it on my show, like whatever. But there's so much that we don't know that the government was behind. And maybe that was done to have a war in Afghanistan because, who was going to benefit from it? The Israelis and Dick Cheney. Okay. So, and I bought it. I bought the theory. Okay. I drank the Kool-Aid, but yeah, I don't doubt that there are things that, we were in the middle of the pandemic. We were all brainwashed by the Chinese, and the media. And we all wore a mask for like a year. And if we didn't wear the mask, not the same amount of people would have died. How did they do that? How did they convince us? So I didn't play along.
I didn't play along. We did not play along, and we were in New York, and we lost a lot of friends. But there was nothing. I could not keep my kids in masks. They were already shutting down the schools. They were making me social. None of it made sense. So I played along for a week, and then once the logic started to go away, I said, "This is ridiculous." I got kicked out of all of my local places that I would go to every day, and we lost, play dates and my friends. And but it was worth it because I felt like I was doing the right thing for my family. They felt like they were doing the right thing for their family. But at the end of the day, I feel like I was obviously correct because I just have a history of distrusting the government. I knew about stuff like the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. I know about things like Operation Sea Spray. Like I said, Operation Northwoods. Really horrible things they do, and then just media propaganda, the media propaganda machine. So it didn't really work on me. The fear that that they wanted me to have for COVID was then replaced with the fear of like the people who were turning into zombies in my neighborhood.
Amen.
One of the things about I bought it for just a little bit. It never felt right, but then I started deep diving because during that time, nobody could do anything. So I did a lot of research that normally I wouldn't have had time to do. And the first thing I came across repeatedly was Dr. Fauci's thesis in college about the Spanish flu and how wearing the mask, more people died from wearing the mask because they kept breathing in their own bacteria over and over and over. More people died from wearing the mask than they did from actually getting the flu. And a lot of people don't know the Spanish flu did not start in Spain. It started on a military base in the Midwest of the United States.
Of course it did.
And then they were vaccinating the horses. They were vaccinating the military men and women. They would send them out. They would bring in a whole new fresh lot. They would vaccinate them, send them out, bring in new fresh people, vaccinate them, send them out. So whenever they were working in terrible trenches and ditches and rain and water overseas, they started getting sick like crazy, coming back from other parts of the world to the United States. So they had to rebrand it the Spanish flu so it wouldn't get tracked back to that military base, which one of Bill Gates's relatives was the maker of that vaccine that they gave the guys on the military base.
Oh my God.
Yeah. His family was part of that.
It's amazing. And also like, I didn't know about Fauci all that much until COVID, but then like you talk to like a gay man from the 80s who hated Fauci for the way he treated the AIDS epidemic. So like, remember the die-ins, right? When the men went to do a die-in at Fauci's office because he was mishandling it, and there were flyers everywhere. So like there were already a bunch of people by the time COVID happened being like, this guy is still around. This guy's straight up evil. And then, we learned about Wuhan, all these things. So he has a very long history of totally mishandling things. Well, maybe he's handling them exactly how he wants to. Maybe it's not mishandling. This is all by design. But the dude is straight up evil.
I'm one of those gay guys from the 80s. And the reason I do what I do today and have for the last 30 years is because I lost my best friend to AIDS. And during that time, I kept saying, there's something simple here. There's a simple cure. And we didn't have internet back then. We didn't have all the resources we have to do today. And I'm working 3 jobs to survive and trying to help him survive it. He was sick for 3.5 years. And now looking back, I know for a fact there was a cure as simple for that as there was for COVID, which was the HCQ or the ivermectin.
Right.
And Fauci is the person. If you watch Dallas Buyers Club, that movie is about Dr. Fauci.
100%.
And he's the one that would not let anybody in the United States have the simple, cheap drug that would have healed them instantaneously. And then they started doing it overseas to the other countries. Oh, yeah, it's all going to come out, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree. These people need to be held accountable.
Mm-hmm.
So, Shane, do you have any more questions? I know you have to leave pretty soon. So, do you have any more questions for Laurie or for? Oh
my goodness! I mean, we could go on and on. There's so much. Let me think. I wonder if how far do you think it'll be? Like, is there a point at which America is prosperous? Like, I want to try to find hope for people because this election is like a dark cloud hanging over this country. But like, how do we come together? Is there any sign of hope?
Well, the first thing I saw when you asked the question was a light switch going off, everything going black, or metaphorically a week. And when the light switch is turned back on, everything's going to be the beginning stages of different and better and more prosperous for the body, the mind, the spirit, etc. And I feel like that switch could be turned off between now and Christmas. and turned back on. And that, I'm going to call it, I hate the word the Great Reset because I know what it means. We'll call it the Great Awakening instead, right? So I feel like we're right on top of it. What about you, Laurie?
No, I'm just like you. I mean, I was getting 25, 30 years ago that everything was going to crash and a lot of people would die. And then all of a sudden, poof, it was going to be like fairyland where everything is good and everybody, Eddie, they'll think I'm normal and you're normal.
Yay!
It must be happening now. I'm getting good vibes from our fans.
I think there's something to it. And for those, who are skeptical of all this stuff, it's good to remember that in terms of like psychic stuff, and I've talked to psychics, I haven't had a reading until today, but I've talked to psychics for different things I've written. And it's funny to think that the government, our government, many years ago was already trying to harness psychic powers by doing remote viewing in Maryland. They had you sit down and try to find things and start stuff. So they know what's up. They're trying to do it just as much as everyone else.
Yes.
I tell you, like I said, I worked for the British government as a psychic. And then when I came back here, I was asked by a couple of different people to work for the American government. And I was like, no way. I think the Americans are meaner than anybody. And the government will kill you just for kicks and giggles. Mm-hmm. And I have a child, and I thought they'd really try to get me and kill my child, So there was no way I would touch the American government at all. So I trust them in the least.
Okay. So I have to let Shane go. He has 3 kids and a life, and but I appreciate you staying here for so long. This was so good. I was a little nervous, but I hope you had a good time. I don't know if anybody knows, he has the show Inverted World. He's a best-selling author of 3 books, including Joyless Kingdom, The Fucking Lunatic, and Tales from the Inverted World, of all which we recommend you buy on Amazon. He's also a writer for the SCNR, which is a community-owned news network by Submerse Incorporated, focused on investigative reporting, on-the-ground journalism, and the free press. You can also hear more from Shane on his podcast, Tales from the Inverted World, on YouTube. Great thing to watch in October if you like spooky, fun stuff. Great guest. He's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and follow him everywhere, Shane Cashman. And that was a brilliant day. I kind of wanted to talk about human trafficking, but I think we hit a couple of really good topics. That's been on my mind
something interesting.
Lately, but
if you remember, closer to the beginning of the show, I can't remember which of the psychics said this, but someone had mentioned something before even meeting Shane about an upside down world, something about upside down in his life. My mind immediately goes to the name of his podcast, Tales from the Inverted World. Immediately, that's what I thought of. So I'm sure that's probably what they were picking up on, was that title.
Oh,
yeah. Go back to
Caleb.
much earlier in the show. Someone mentioned that. Yeah.
Yep. I thought that too.
And,
well, guys,
reach out.
I'd love to come back. Thank you guys for having me so much. It was a pleasure talking to you, all of you. And I'd love to keep up. Good luck to everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you
Bye.
so much. Ta-ta. So
Yeah.
that was the Shane Cashman. He's Robin's a huge fan. He's definitely does a lot on this subject matter, and I think whatever you called out, he's gonna move forward. It's really hard when you do shows like this where you're talking to dead people, or it is a tough audience. It's like, but you can't say that. Why would you say that out loud? But I think now's the time to bring all this stuff forward while we're all open to it. And maybe the pandemic brought our lives to a higher vibration on some level, because now everybody's like, they want to talk to a psychic to ask questions and get answers that are not relevant in the universe. Like you watch TV and you're like, what? This can't be true. So it's great to have you guys. I don't know, Caleb, can you put Eddie back on the screen?
Yeah, Eddie, I actually have a quick question, because you were talking about numerology earlier, And so my son, I'm going to put a picture up of him. We just saw Susan and Drew out last week. My son, his
Alabama.
birthday is July 21st of 2021. So it's 7/21/21, which seems pretty important because that comes out to be 7 sevens. Does that mean anything?
Sevens are good. 7 is genius mentality. So he'll be that kind of person who won't think normally. He'll think normally, meaning if he has to fit in, he'll just act like he's like everybody else, but his wheels are always going. But his wheels for him are in his head. And he has a great heart mind already and a great gut instinct. But he's born on the 21st. That's a 3. So he's got that body, mind, spirit, good energy. Let me see one more thing here.
He's the sweetest boy. Everybody loves him. He's just, sweetest little boy.
Creates he's like a 6. He's a life path 6. And that is, he will always create community. So he's born on a day that comes to 3. He is a life path 6. So there's that great balance there. What's the deal with one of his eyes?
Not so much, nothing that I can think of right now. You're talking about one of his eyes?
Yeah, it could be one
I'll
eye
have to
over
get it-
the other,
I'll have
or
him-
the eyelash or eyebrow.
I'd have to look closer. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go look closer and see. Maybe it's something we haven't detected yet.
Then he's going to talk about a tooth or gums or teeth or something with that, just so you know. And there is a relative that follows him around from time to time he talks to that's passed away. And what's the deal with his pillows?
He just got his first pillow.
Okay, he loves it.
Yeah.
It's like a puppy to him.
Yeah.
And so this person behind you that watches over him is either mother, father, or grandmother, grandfather to you.
Yeah.
And there could be an L in their name somewhere, but they watch after him. And this is a tricky question. Did you have a puppy or a kitty cat that passed away not terribly long ago, or that died before he was born?
Yeah, I had it was a chinchilla, so it's like a squirrel-looking creature. Yeah, I had a chinchilla that passed away.
It hangs out with him, with the relative.
Oh, that's
is there
sweet.
a weeping willow tree near where you live?
There might be. I'm not familiar with the trees nearby. There might be. I mean, we live near the water, so it's probably.
There'll be the weeping willow trees. We'll call to him, and he'll go and he'll just plop down under it.
Oh.
Yeah. And by the way, the weeping willow trees are the most psychic trees on planet Earth.
Oh, that's nice.
This child is very, very, very psychic.
Yeah.
And by the way, he'll go through a period, and I shouldn't say this on like international podcasting, but there'll be a thing, he goes through a little booger phase.
Oh, no.
You could talk about boogers on the Dr. Drew Network.
Yeah, I don't think he'll do anything disgusting.
Is he going to eat them?
No, that's what I mean. He's not going to do anything disgusting. But he'll go through a period. I think what's going to happen is he's going to have it's sort of like the weather's going to change or whatever, so the air is much drier, and he just sort of does like this.
Oh.
Yeah.
And he pulls one that's sort of like a whole circle around his nostril, and it comes out looking almost like a seashell. Yeah, sorry about that.
He's going to save
Thanks.
it. You're going to find it in your shoe.
I'm going to hear stories about this at school. Wow. No, he did. He just got, because we did safe sleep, so he didn't have any pillows until about, I believe it was a couple of weeks ago, whenever he finally moved and he got a new bed. And so he's so excited about it. He just, it's like if it's bedtime, he's like, new bed. And we're like, yeah, you get your new bed. It's not quite new anymore. It's 2 weeks old, but it's new to him. And he does have a pillow that he carries with him everywhere. In fact, the pillow is a puppy pillow. It's in the shape of a puppy that he brings with him back and forth from school. Yeah. That's what keeps him happy when he's gone. Yeah. That's probably, yeah.
One last thing. The dead person is speaking about a clock connected to your son, or it could be a clock or something they had when they were alive. But your son may talk about the clock ticking or making noise. It might supposed to make noise, and it's not because it's not operating. Do you know what they're talking about?
Yeah, it's either both of my grandparents on both of the sides. So my grandfather, he had a cuckoo clock that I was obsessed with as a kid that was always on the wall. Now my grandparents on my mom's side have passed away, so that clock my mom might have it, or it might be in storage somewhere. But then my grandfather on my dad's side, he also had a tall grandfather clock. I was also obsessed with as a kid, and that grandmother's still alive, so she probably still has it. But that's one of the things I want. I want one day. Yeah, I do want it one day because it's
probably why they're.
Yeah, very clearly remember this.
They're talking about it. It looks like it's going to be.
Put your name on it.
Yeah, put your name on it.
I'll
On
put
the
a
back.
post-it on there. Yeah, it's mine. I've always. Oh yeah, I thought about it since I was a kid. That clock was a
I
big
hope that
deal.
doesn't mean they're going to die soon, but
No. I mean, so 3 of my grandparents have passed away, and then one is still alive. I think she's just going to live forever. She's the healthiest and happiest. It's amazing. But she might still have it, I would guess. But that's one of the clearest memories of my childhood are those clocks, because both of my grandfathers had those clocks. And when you're a kid, you get obsessed. He has to pull the wires. He has to wind it up and run it mechanically. So, yeah.
cute.
That's adorable. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, he's a great
Thank you
kid.
so much.
He's a great kid.
Mm-hmm.
Kaleb is our producer in Alabama. We just visited him this weekend.
Love Alabama.
And he runs the show. He does all the producing and he puts the whole thing together. As far as the technology side of it, we built this studio during the pandemic. Well, right before the pandemic, when Drew was on The Masked Singer, I call it the Masked Singer studio because we thought he would be gone for a month, and he lost in the first episode. But anyways, we started this live streaming show back in 2019, and then the pandemic hit, and then he moved to Alabama, but he's able to run it all virtually from his house.
Unreal.
Talk about crazy like technology, like, you know what I mean? And we love it. It's so great. And although I would like to move to Alabama, it's just a lovely place, I gotta say, where he lives.
Beautiful.
And but anyways, he's the mastermind behind this program, the drdrew.tv, and it's the free place to be. We've all decided. And I want to thank, Shane very much for coming in, and also for Laurie for coming in via Zoom. It was such a pleasure to see you in person. And did you have anything else you want to say before you go, like where people can find you, or if they want a psychic reading or anything else to add to the conversation?
Yes, my website is lauriegregg.com.
With two
So
G's.
no, 2G, yeah. And it's Laurie. There it is right there. lauriegregg.com.
Laure. It's up on the Chiron. And also, did you have anything else you want to say before you went? Like just spiritually, like what your closing thoughts?
Okay, I keep getting, things are so crazy for all of us not to be so scared, because we all know fear just blocks everything. And I don't know, right now, I don't know which one's talking to me, but they're putting my hands on my belly, and for all of us to keep our bellies open to receive the goodness that is really right around the corner. Right around the corner. You got to be open to receive it. You can't just be grouchy and things aren't going right, or you won't be open to get it. So it's Halloween's coming up.
I love
think
that.
about you have an open Halloween bag. I'm ready for all the good stuff,
Okay. Yes, I'm open. That's so nice. Thank you so much. And I'll let you go with that. And everybody check her out at Laurie Gregg with 2 G's, Laurie, Gregg, GREGG.com. And you can get a psychic reading. I've had one with her. Phenomenal. Really well. She's just really connected into the universe. So hopefully we'll have her back soon. And I look forward to seeing you then.
Oh, this is great. Actually, it was like a game show. So yes.
And you won a spot on the wheel. Spin the wheel. Okay, here we go. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. And then also, once again, thank you, Eddie, for coming in.
Thank you.
Fortunately, we're neighbors, so it's really cool.
I know.
And Robin Delano is my producer who has she's been collecting psychics for years now, and she sent you my way. I was so excited. I was like, where'd you find him? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, she has like a Rolodex. She's got a Rolodex, and I'm so grateful that I have this opportunity to meet you guys and talk to people in the universe like Shane who have a lot of feelings about this stuff. And I think you'll probably be getting a phone call from him pretty soon to be on his show. So I don't know. I'm not psychic, but that's how this world works. But thank you, audience, for following us. Go to drdrew.com/sponsors to get all the links for all the great products that we provide to you here. I also want to give a shout out to my Capsidin product, which is our Capsidin is our one of our sponsors. It's a anti-inflammatory that you rub on your muscles and your nerves when you're having pain, and it's made from capsaicin, but it doesn't burn. It also works great on mosquito bites. And we all get a little bite here and there, and they itch for a couple of days. It goes away right away. I'm not kidding. I rubbed it on your mosquito bites the other day, right?
Yeah.
And did it work?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Itching, yeah.
Yeah, it goes right away. You can go to drdrew.com/capsidin. That's CAPSADYN, and get some. Check it out.
That's really interesting,
right?
Susan, because you know that there's certain things that the company has to do lots of tests before they can promote it as something that will help with mosquito bites. So you won't find that anywhere on their website, any of their marketing. So you may have discovered another use for this, like a off-label use for capsaicin cream. That's amazing. I'm going to try it next time.
I talked to Victor over there, No Pain. He's on Rumble. He's over there. I did tell him, I said, I rubbed it on a bee bite. We have meat-eating bees in the backyard, and I got stung. And I was like, this hurts. So I put the Capsidin on it, and it went away. So he did say, yes, it does work on that. So check it out. If you have this little, thing of Capsidin in your cabinet, and I think kids can use it. It's not addictive. It's very good stuff. It's from Corda Pharma. We love them. So, and I'll give you some too for the road.
Okay.
Yes, I give it out as parting gifts. So tell me how it works. If you have any, I have carpal tunnel. I rub it on my hands before the show. I also have some knee problems that sometimes when it gets a little stiff, I rub it on my knees, and it helps. If you have any stiff joints or
hip.
Rub it on your hip. It's good for nerves and all that stuff. And then also, we'll be back next week, I think. I don't know. We were at the Skank Fest last week, so we did a podcast there with Mark Norman and Drew Montana. And we may be uploading that next week, but we could be back. I don't know. We'll see. But until then, be sure you check out all the great shows at drdrew.tv. Ask Dr. Drew will be back on Tuesday, right, Kaleb? And we have some fabulous guests coming up.
I'm looking it up. I do know we have Alex Jones next week, so Alex Jones.
Excited. We have Dr. Malone, which is very controversial for this show. I know, it's good. We have a great lineup. Emily Barsh also helped me book this show, but she does our booking. Thank you, Emily. I hope you're having a great vacation. And also we have a couple of other people too that are really, really good. So
Tuesday, October 8th, we have Sasha Latipova and Emily Kaplan. On Wednesday, October 9th, Alex Jones. Thursday, Dr. Robert Malone, and then a bunch of great other names that are coming up right after that.
Yeah, so check it out. Stay tuned for drdrew.tv. And everybody, we really appreciate the really great comments on the Restream and YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter and Rumble. Everybody was on board today, a good crowd, and we appreciate your positivity and love and light. So until we see you again, thank you for watching.
I'm excited to bring you a new product, a new supplement, Fatty. I take it. I make Susan take it. My whole family takes it. This comes out of, believe it or not, dolphin research. The Navy maintains a fleet of dolphins, and a brilliant veterinarian recognized that these dolphins sometimes developed a syndrome identical to our Alzheimer's disease. Those dolphins were deficient in a particular fatty acid. She replaced the fatty acid, and they didn't get the Alzheimer's. Humans have the same issue. And we are more deficient in this particular fatty acid than ever before. And a simple replacement of this fatty acid called C15 will help us prevent these syndromes. It's published in a recent journal called Metabolites. It's a new nutritional C15. pentadecanoic acid, it's called. The deficiency that we are developing for C15 creates something called the cellular fragility syndrome. This is the first nutritional deficiency syndrome to be discovered in 75 years and may be affecting us in many ways, and as many as 1 in 3 of us. This is an important breakthrough. Take advantage of it. Go to fatty15.com/Dr. Drew to receive 15% off a 90-day starter kit subscription, or use code Dr. Drew at checkout for that 15% off, or just go to our website, drdrew.com/fatty15.